All right. Well, welcome to your evening stretching practice. So tonight we are going to be working on a stretch that's going to get into our calf muscles. I know a lot of people have tight calves. This seems to be a problem area for a lot of us. And then we'll do a twist to really get into the spine, and there'll be a little bit of stretching in the back, all sorts of good places. And then we'll end class with a wrist, working in our wrist. So class won't feel as long as it typically does because with our wrists, we have a lot of tiny, smaller muscles involved. And so we're only going to hold each of those for about 1 minute. We're not going to do 5 minutes for each of those. So for our calf stretch and our twist, we will hold it for the 5 minutes. Really, the only props that you might want to have nearby is maybe a couple of blocks. A blanket is always handy to have just in case as well. But let's go ahead and get into our calf stretch. It's our first class, so this one is going to be a very, very simple one and one that you can do pretty much from anywhere, and one that you may have done, and it's pretty effective. So let's go ahead and get into it. Just keep your blocks nearby in case you want them. And then if you need extra padding for your knees, just roll a blanket out across your mat and place your knees on top of the mat. So, or on top of your blanket. So just come into your tabletop position. Hands underneath your shoulders, shoulder width apart. Spread your fingers. Finger spread is that nervous system hack that we use to help keep the body calm, cool, and collected. So we'll start on the right side. You're going to extend the right leg long. You're going to tuck the toes and use your hands to gently press the hips back as if you're trying to really press the heel towards the ground. Go ahead and start our time here. This is a really good place to start. Arms straight. Arms straight really helps give you a little bit of the leverage to gently press the heel back a little bit more when you start to free up some space there in your right calf. Just relax the shoulders in your neck, your shoulders, and just let your head hang. And we'll hold each side for 5 minutes. And of course, if you're here, try not to straighten too much through or lock through the knee. You can add just a gentle slight bend through the knee, maybe press back a little bit more, but don't push it too far, too fast. So for this one, with the intensity, probably want to hover around a 5 or 6, just because of the delicacy of our calf muscles. Now, if you're here and your arms, your shoulders start to get really tired, maybe you can come down to forearms. You can play around with this. This gets a little funky. Might help you press a little bit back more into that right heel, finding a little bit of a deeper stretch if you need it. But again, it gets a little funky feeling in the shoulders coming down to forearms, straight to the ground. So you can always play around with placing your hands on blocks, maybe lifting the chest up a little bit more, pressing back through the heel. And of course, you can come down to forearms onto your blocks if you need to do that. So really, we're really just trying to find that stretch in the right calf. And instead of coming out of the pose completely, if you feel like you need a little bit of a break, try to just back out of it and maybe take a few breaths there and then try to go back into it. Of course, you know your body better than I do. And so if you do get to a space where you just need to come out of it, just move out of it very slowly and try to aim for at least the 2 minute mark. Approaching minute number 3, we've got about 2 more minutes to go. Long, deep inhales, long, deep exhales. Again, check in with that right knee. Careful that you're not walking through it. Soft, slight bend, and then press back a little bit more. Just over 1 more minute to go. Thirty more seconds, and then we'll switch. Your next breath, slowly bend the right knee. Come back to center. And then we'll switch sides here. So hands underneath your shoulders, shoulder width apart. Maybe you start with your hands on the ground first. Fingers are spread. Extend long through the left leg, tuck the left toes, and start to press back into the left heel. Acknowledge that each side might feel a little different. And you might have to take different variations to kind of get into the stretch. And pause there. Sometimes pressing straight back, maybe you press straight back and you're there for a few breaths, and then slightly come forward and kind of press back towards the left corner, the back left corner of your mat. And sometimes that helps you find the stretch in a different part of the calf. Just depends on where you're going or where you're feeling the most tightness and where you want to hold that stretching tension. But with time and practice, as you start to loosen the muscles up and create more space, the heel will drop closer towards the ground. And remember, we're not worried about so much about the shape of the pose. We're just trying to get into a space where we can find that stretching tension and holding it there for these 5 minutes, or however long you're doing this to practice at home. Aim for a minimum 2 minutes. Don't forget to breathe. And then, of course, you can make adjustments. Your shoulders get tired. Maybe you come down to forearms, or maybe you place your hands up on blocks, giving yourself a little bit more leverage. Of course, if you need to go even higher, you can use the edge of a table, coffee table, or a chair. And then just make sure you're not locking through that left knee. Got 2 more minutes. Usually about this time in our stretch hold, it sometimes feels like we're losing the stretch. So don't give up. It's still there. Let's try to maybe find a different variation for the arms, or again, try as if you're kind of slightly angling the heel towards the back left corner of your mat, and press as if you're trying to press the body towards that back left corner. And sometimes you'll find the stretch again and you can hold there. Calves are a little funky, but even if you don't feel it, you feel a little bit now and you're probably thinking, this, what is this doing for me? It'll feel so much better tomorrow. At least tomorrow morning, you'll start to feel, okay, got some tension, got release there in my calves. And then by the end of the day, before bed, you'll have to do it again. Assuming that you're, and hopefully that means that you're an active person on your feet all the time. And a lot of times if we have tight hamstrings or anything going on in the ankles, a lot of times we lack the mobility and stability in our ankles, so our calves make up for it and become tight over time. There you go, like 5 more seconds. Take a couple more breaths. Good, release. Let me sit back on your heels. Extend the legs out in front of you. Shake them out a couple times. Maybe punch out the calf muscles. Rub them, whatever feels good. Breaking up, holding that tension. All right, we're moving into our twist next. I'll turn around here so I'm facing you guys. We'll start on we'll bend the right knee first. So bend the right knee in towards your body. You want to get in as close as you can, or at least 1 fist distance away from the body. Find some length. So if you're here and you're struggling to find that length to keep the spine straight, go ahead and sit up on the edge of a block or a blanket. All right. Hugging the knee in towards the body. Straighten through the spine. Left toes stay pointed towards the sky. Maybe this is where you want to stay right here for a couple breaths. This is great. But we're going to start to work towards twisting towards the right. So you're going to hug the knee with the left elbow. Hook your left elbow. Right hand comes behind you. Straighten through the spine and let the right shoulder draw back and away towards the back edge of the mat. So you can stay right here. We are going to be here for 5 minutes. So you stay right there, the hand on the mat. Maybe it feels better, a little bit more supportive to place your hand on a block. You can do that. Now, if we are here for a few minutes and you want to go deeper, you'll just lean back slightly so you have space to bring the left elbow to the outside of the right knee. And I like to start, I'll straighten my arm, straighten through the spine, and then twist open to the right. So you can try that with the arm straight, maybe holding here. Again, straighten through the spine. And then if you want, you could always bring the hand up. Try to relax through the left leg. When we practice this twist in other classes, it's very active and engaging. So you'll feel the muscles in the left leg really start to engage. Try to relax through the left leg and let the work happen in the lumbar spine and a little bit in the thoracic spine as well. And drawing the right shoulder back. You can gaze over the right shoulder if that feels comfortable for you. Right arm can crawl out a little bit further away if that's needed. Or maybe you need to go a little bit deeper. You start to crawl the right hand in closer to the body. Again, straight through the spine and twist. Right shoulder draws open and away. Deep breath, the best that you can. Sometimes the breath feels a little restricted when we're twisting. But even if you take longer, shallow breaths, it will still help the nervous system stay in that rest and digest space. The muscles know it's okay to relax. And then we can find a little bit of a deeper stretch. Got less than 2 minutes. Again, remember, you don't have to stay for the full 5 minutes. Try to aim for the 2 minutes. And instead of coming out, first try just backing out of it, taking a few deep breaths, and then coming back into it. A lot of times, it's just a matter of building up that tolerance and training the body and the muscles to be used to these new shapes that we're putting them in, and asking them to do things that we might not do or find that it does or needs to do during our day-to-day life, day-to-day activities. So you just gotta give the body a little bit of encouragement, maybe applauding it, telling your body how awesome it is and how grateful you are for everything it does for you. The body does a lot. We've got 30 more seconds. Again, relaxing to the left leg. If that your hip flexors, the muscles closer into the thigh region are really feeling sore or tired, it means you're engaging those muscles. So just try to relax. We all do it. It's hard. Okay, slowly come back to center. Maybe hug the knee in one more time and extend the legs long. You can shake it out a couple of times and then we'll switch to the other side. So I'm going to switch around this way so I can see. Extend the legs long. Bend the left knee close in. Bring the heel in close to the body, about 1 fist distance away. Really, really close. If you need to go out a little bit further, if you got anything going on with the hips, the knee, or the back, feel free. By all means, do that. And then maybe as you deepen the stretch, you can pull in a little bit closer. Find the length through the spine. Hug the left knee in, hook the right elbow around the left knee, and twist open to the left. So chest twist open to the left thigh, left shoulder draws open, and back towards the back edge of the mat. Left hand acts as a kickstand. Again, you can bring the hand to the mat, or maybe it feels more supportive to bring your hand to a block. And as we have our hand back here, just make sure you don't walk through the left elbow. It sneaks up on you. So just check in on that every so often. And then again, make sure the right leg is relaxed, toes point up towards the sky. Try and keep that spine straight, whether you're sitting on the edge of a blanket or on the edge of a block. As we're here for a little bit longer. As you take your deep breaths, as you inhale, you find a little bit more length, and as you exhale, maybe you can twist a little bit deeper. If you need to or want to deepen it, you can always take the elbow, the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Again, you can start with the straight arm, finding the length through the spine, using the leverage of the arm, pressing into the knee. Maybe you twist a little bit deeper. And of course, you can always bend the elbow, bring the hand up if that's more comfortable for you. But again, just find that stretch, that place that we can hold the tension. We've got just under 3 minutes to go. And you'll feel this the lumbar spine, thoracic spine, so a little bit in the middle part of your back. Our spine loves twisting. Helps to wring out wastes and toxins that it doesn't want or need anymore. And it also helps bring in nutrition, hydration. That's why we feel so good after we do our twists. Whether you believe it or not, as we've been sitting here for however long we've been here. 2 more minutes. Of course, if your hand is on a block, to help guide you a little bit deeper, you can always hold onto the block and maybe guide it back behind you. And it'll encourage you to draw the left shoulder back. But again, find that length and then twist a little bit deeper. One more minute. Deep breath, scan the body, making sure you're relaxing. And the only tension that we're feeling is in the back right here as we're twisting. Everything else should be relaxed. There's no engagement. We're using our right elbow in a little bit of a strength manner to get us into the twist, but we're not really forcing it. So if you're in this twist, you can almost release the knee and find that you'll stay right in that twist, or you can twist a little bit deeper. But this is a comfort thing as well. And it's comforting. It feels like we have support here, so the body, the mind can relax a little bit more and know that it's supportive and all is good. All right, slowly release, come back to center, shake it out, shake it out. Go ahead and roll over and find a child's pose. Big toes together, knees out as wide as the mat, and stretch your arms long. This feels really good after twisting. Of course, another option, you could always roll onto your back and hug the knees in towards your chest as well. Just to give, you could always do cat-cow movement as well. Just a little bit of a reset here. So, all right, we are going to move into wrists next. This is very delicate space. We've got lots of teeny tiny muscles. We've all done something to our wrists, whether we realize it or not. So we're only going to hold each of these versions for 1 minute. And for wrists, we're literally probably hovering around like a 3 or 4 for intensity wise. So don't push it too far, too fast. In fact, a lot of people find that they go into it a little deep, and then they back out of it a little bit and come back into it a little, finding that tension again. So we've got a couple of different versions here. Again, 1 minute each. We're going to come into our tabletop position. You don't need any props. If you need a blanket underneath your knees, feel free to line that up. So the first one that we're going to do, hands on your shoulders, shoulder width apart, spread your fingers, and you're just going to take and shift the weight. The shoulders are actually going to draw beyond or almost right in line with the wrist. You're going to feel the weight in the wrist. I'm sorry, I have to use my watch. I don't have my other clock thing, and it doesn't always want to do what it's told. These wrist stretches that we're doing are really, really great to do every day, especially if you find yourself practicing a lot of yoga or doing a lot of wrist bearing or weight bearing exercises. It's really good to do if you're working on a handstand practice or really want to strengthen through these muscles. There is stretching and strength happening here. Fingers are spread, weight is in the palm of your hands. Come on. Good. For this next round, we're going to do, turn your palms, your fingers out to the outer edges of the mat, spread your fingers, and again, you're going to shift the weight forward. You might have to come forward a little bit back to kind of find that sweet spot. And once you find it, again, the weight is in the palms of your hand. The palms are flat down on the ground. Once you find that weight, hold right there. Fingers are pointing to the outer edges of the mat. Fingers are spread. Arms going to be straight. Sometimes people find bending the elbows a little bit helps. All right, slowly release. And then you're going to turn your fingers so they're facing the body, facing the knees, but you want to make sure the palms are flat down on the ground. Fingers are spread. This feels a little funky. It gets intense very quickly. So move slowly in this one and start to drop the weight back towards your heel until you find that stretch. You'll feel it in the wrist, but you also feel it along the forearms. But you want to make sure the palms stay down on the ground. If you can, just drop your head. Maybe there's a slight bend in the elbows. Careful if you're hypermobile. And if you need to move, move very, very slowly. So if you're coming back and it's too intense, just slowly move forward. All right, slowly release. If you need to, you can shake it out a little bit. And we got 2 more versions that we're going to do here. These are the ones that are super uncomfortable, at least in my opinion. I don't know. We never do this with our, or we don't do it as often, I should say. So for this one, turn your fingers facing to the front of the mat, or the top edge of the mat. You're going to flip your palm. So the palm is up and the back of your hand is down on the ground. Fingers point in towards the body. and tense right away. So this one might be where you slightly bend your elbows and you can play with the shifting of the weight. Maybe coming forward is where you find the spot. Maybe coming back is where you find the spot. But the back of the hands stay down on the ground. Deep breaths here. Good. Slowly release. If you need to shake it out, shake it out. And we got one more to do. Again, another funky one. Coming back with the palms up, back of the hands down. This time, turn your fingers to the front of the mat. Same thing that we just did, but this time we're coming into a different space. So back of the palms to the mat, palms up, fingers point to the top edge of the mat. Spread those fingers, shifting the weight slightly forward until you find it. And play around the knee. Elbows just kind of bend a little on their own. But you can play around with whether you need to bend them a little bit deeper or not. That again, making sure those the back of the palms, the entire hand is flat on the ground. That's probably the tricky part. Deep breaths. All right, allow the weight to come back. Slowly bring your palms up off the ground. My hands feel like they're broken. All right, and then slowly shake them out, shake them out. And then when your wrists feel ready for it, then you can do the motion of flicking your fingers. And you can feel when you do this, you really start to feel a little bit of a lightness, a little bit of freedom in your wrists. Things feel a little bit more mobile. Now the wrist stuff, that stuff hurts a lot. But we only do it for 1 minute though. So, all right, shake it out, shake it out. And we did it. All right, well, thank you guys for joining me this evening. We stretched out our calves, we did a little twisting, and we did some wrists as well. So again, thank you for stretching with me. I hope to see you on the mat again very, very soon. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good night.